Hello, Blizzard fans! This is Falcon Paladin coming to you with yet another daily Blizzard upload. This is Game 4 between Rain and Soulkey on Vaani Research Station. Now, this is from the quarterfinals of the Season 9 IEM Championships held at Taipei in 2015. And we'll get the names up here. In the bottom of Vaani Research Station, we have the red Protoss player Rain. And in the top of Vaani Research Station, we have the blue player, Soulkey, representing the Zerg race. Now again, we're going to speed it up a little bit here, get that production tab up so you can see what's going on. And currently, Rain leads the series 2-1 after some very strong attacks in Game 3. He was distracted by some attacks from Soulkey down into his third base, but he was able to repel those successfully, and eventually he just showed up with a big Blink Stalker army, a big Colossus army with +3 upgrades. Through some good micro, was able to take down the swarm hosts that were defending for Soulkey, and the number of Corruptors were just not high enough to deal with the number of Colossus that Rain had brought to the party. So in the end, the Protoss player is up 2-1. Zerg's going to try to bring it back and even it up by trying to block off this expansion, it looks like. But with his 2 probes there, it's not going to happen for very long. And Soulkey might lose this drone if he's not careful. Yes, he is able to stay alive, but he blocked off the Nexus for just a couple minutes, which is enough. We do have an early expansion going down for the Zerg player, even before hatchery. It looks like it was about a 15 hatch. And a third base going down as well, so aggressive micro play. This probe coming up to see exactly what's going on, sees the third base, sees the main base, and is probably going to go ahead and scout off the second base. I guess he just assumes there is a natural there because it's a very safe, protected natural, so any Zerg player is going to be smart to take that. It's a third base that's a little bit risky. But again, he recognized the early Nexus first play from Rain and said, alright, I'm going to take my third, and I should be okay when any of the attacks actually decide to happen. So we would have a Cybernetics core coming down for Rain. Queens coming out for Soulkey, not much going on there. I'm going to assume we're going to see a lot of droning from Soulkey over the next couple of minutes, just because he knows there cannot be much aggression coming out of Rain with that early Nexus. Overlord scouting on over, another Overlord scouting, a lot of good Overlord scouts from the Zerg player. The Protoss player has gotten some good scouts as well with probes, but again, without anything that can fly for a couple of minutes, not much he can do to get a great scout off. Forge coming up, Warp Kit being researched, a good block by Rain. This is something you want to learn to do against Zerg players, is make sure how to wall off on every single map. So on this map it's easy, there's a pretty narrow ramp, you just throw down a couple buildings here, maybe get a Stalker or a Sentry to throw force fields here, or a Zealot to block the entrance. On other maps it can be more difficult to actually block off your natural. It's a wider ramp or a wider area, so if you look at a lot of replays from professional players, you can learn what buildings can go where, how you can actually block that off to prevent Zergling run-bys, which can be really annoying for the Protoss player. So props, obviously Rain knows exactly what he's doing. We have an Oracle popping on up. Let's see if we can follow that Oracle up along the right side. Gonna get rid of those nameplates now. There we go. Overlord positioned perfectly to see that Oracle coming. We'll see what the response is from Soulkey. I imagine the Oracle will be able to get some kills off. No, there is, yeah, looks like there's a Spore Crawler there. It gets a couple drone kills, but 2 is probably not enough to pay for this Oracle. He's not going to be much use in the main battles later on, so he really needs to harass and do more damage than that. It is 49 to 51 Harvesters. The Zerg is in the lead here at the 8-minute and 22-second mark. A Spore Crawler here, Spore Crawler, no Spore Crawler in the main. Oracle Harass might be effective there, but there is here one at the third base. And the saturation is already very, very good for Soulkey. He hasn't been harassed at all at this point, allows him to drone up, get his economy going, get a Roach Warren up, and where is he making a lair now as well, along with 2 Evolution Chambers. So scouting Phoenix, actually Phoenix, not hallucinated. Gonna come around, see if she can kill any Overlords. I'm not sure why the Phoenix is a she. Kind of sounds like a she, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, Oracle coming out, getting spat at by these queens. A group of 4 queens, actually. This creep spread is going to get out of control here in just a few minutes. A lot of Zerglings coming out for Soulkey. Pox shots going off on that Phoenix from the Spore Crawler, doing some damage, forcing it away. Can't get any of these Overlords. They are clustered around the defense. Are they? Is there a Spore Crawler down there? There's not. They're just kind of hiding for no reason over here. I guess there's a queen to defend, but not enough to take out a queen or a Phoenix that quickly. Anyway, third base is already up for Rain. He's macroing like a boss as well. 65 to 59 Harvesters for the Zerg player. I feel like Rain needs to make some kind of attack here, force something out of the Zerg player, or else he's just going to get overrun. Yeah, I mean, Mothership Core is here. We have some sentries. They're defensive sentries, though. Can't do much with those on offense. Zerglings, again, being very effective, scouting out what they can see, trying to see if they can find any proxy pylons, any attacks coming on up, an Envision going down on these queens from the Oracle, which is kind of funny. I mean, yeah, you know where the queens are, but they're spreading creep. Like, you know that's what they do. They're not going to be up here showing you tech choices or anything like that. So, again, interesting choice on what to envision there. Moving up, there we go. Here comes the attack at the 10-minute, 11-minute mark with the Mothership Core, Sentries, and Stalkers. We're going to see how Soulkey decides to respond to this. The creep spread, again, is just really good. Rain is going to have to come up a long way to get to this third base and allow Soulkey to mount the defense. You want to come up here with the Zerglings and actually force some force fields if you can. Just because force fields at your base are much more difficult to deal with than force fields out here in the middle of nowhere. Zerglings getting a good surround on these Stalkers. We might actually see a recall here. No. They want to take down that base first before they go home. More Zerglings streaming in. There's a gap there for the Zerglings to get in, and yes, forcing the recall, heading on home. There was some harassment here, taking down a couple probes from some roaches, but nothing major. We still have 70 to 66 harvesters, 70 harvesters. For the Protoss player is a lot at this point. Good job to him getting that macro up, using that chrono boost as best as he possibly can. Hatchery getting replanted down to fourth base for Soulkey. Again, recognizing the third is up for Rain. He's a little bit behind in that regard. Scouting Phoenix being super annoying. We'll see what choices Soulkey decides to make. He is getting the Enduring Locust upgrade for his Infestors, which means, or for his Swarm Host, which means he's definitely going to go Swarm Host. And we do have a Spire being researched as well. So a Mutalisk Swarm Host composition could be pretty deadly to what's going on here. Although, again, these Stalkers are pretty good against Mutalisks, assuming they have good numbers to deal with them. So small Zergling Roach Force moving around, getting blinked upon and destroyed by those Blink Stalkers. Just kind of running around in circles, I guess. I'm not sure. Trying to catch this army off guard. This is not enough Zerglings to actually take this out, especially with force fields. They're just kind of baiting Rain back and back and back, preventing the army from getting close to home too quickly before the Swarm Hosts can pop out. Swarm Hosts are now about to hatch. They're hatching here at the second, and a couple at the third as well, and Zerglings are being made here at the main. Forcing a cancel on the fourth base again is Rain, just poking right on in, very carefully doing what he can do to slow down this Zerg economy and the Zerg death ball. Swarm Host popping in here again at the second base. I guess this is the main base, second base, third base. I kind of always get confused on this map, but small group of Mutalisks, Roaches, and Zerglings over here checking for like a gold base fifth. I don't know. Not seeing much at all though. So we have hallucinated Phoenix coming in, trying to tickle these overlords to death, but they don't do anything at all before they evaporate. Obviously, he sees the Spire, he sees the Evolution Chamber being upgraded. He knows exactly what is going on. It's just kind of more of a distraction than anything. Sees the Swarm House coming out. He knows exactly what composition he's up against, and is definitely getting those Colossus already at +2 upgrades, ground attack for those Colossus. So this is a pretty formidable force coming up. It's 182 to 181 for the Protoss player. Locust coming down already. Locust trying to pick some people off. Kill as many enemies as they can before the Protoss player shows up at his front door. Will these creep tumors finish before? Yes, these two will. That one did not. Is there an observer in the group here? Yes, there is, obviously. You want one if you're going up against Swarm Hosts. These Zealots are melting. Small group of Zerglings doing a run-by? Yes, a run-by. Trying to catch reinforcing Stalkers as they come up. So interesting choice. Good blinks there from Rain as he continues to march up the front door here. The Locusts are being microed by Soulkey, trying to focus down those sentries as best that he can, but good force fields keep them away. Roaches now getting microed and mown down here by these Stalkers. Do we have +3 upgrades yet? Yes, we do have +3 upgrades. Fourth base looks like it might go down, but we do have more and more Swarm Hosts coming up here, sniping down a lot of the front lines, forcing the Colossus back and back and back, forcing this Protoss death ball a little bit farther away than they want to be. Another group of Swarm Hosts, Locusts, actually hatch, coming left and right. A Blink is going to chase these Swarm Hosts down, but they actually want to kill these Locusts first because the Locusts are doing so much damage to their Colossus and to their sentries. So a lot of Stalkers actually going down here. The Locusts are doing their job. Are the Locusts upgraded at all? Yes, +1/+1 here. That is an advantage that Protoss has. They can chrono boost their upgrades. Zerg cannot. So sometimes you'll see the advantage, the upgrade advantage around this stage in the game for Protoss, which can be very useful. There are a couple Corruptors, but not enough, again, to deal with this number of Stalkers, this number of Colossus. So Queens being forced off, attacking as best they can. They do have +1/+1/+1 upgrades because they have the ground attack and the air attack. which are considered different for some reason, both ranged though. A sentry goes down, a pretty good pickup from those locusts. There are no more sentries left, which might be enough to force the retreat of this Protoss army. He did stop any mining here at the 4th base. He feels pretty happy about that. Some Zerglings running on by, trying to get down to this 4th base and kill some probes, but there is a couple photon cannons there, a few zealots with +3 upgrades warping in as well, and the Zerglings say, nah, not worth it, I don't think so. Locust coming in here to spawn and die. Is Soulkey going to take his 4th base? I think he needs to at this point. We do have the observers sitting right here. We probably need to morph an overseer or something so we can see that and get rid of it, providing perfect scouting information for Rain. Stalker's moving up the right side, probably checking for the presence. Yes! No, again, amazing game sense from Rain. As I say that, he walks right past it. No, decides to check it anyway. Sees the gold base coming down, and Soulkey says shoot, and doesn't even get a cancel off. Loses the minerals on there. Huge pickup from Rain, saying might as well check that gold base, and it paid off. So, but again, it might have given some time for the Swarm host to get in position to check out these Stalkers and force them away again. A 4th base being taken for Rain is huge at this point. The Zerg player is only on 3. If he can get on 4 base Protoss to 3 base Zerg is just difficult for any Zerg player to deal with. I don't care how good you are. We have Rain moving up in an attack mode, Locust swarming. We have Zerglings with +2 attacks, which is pretty nice. Kind of backing up again though. Blink Stalkers can get away from Zerglings fairly well. You still don't want to do an attack against a lot of Zerglings, but you can keep your Stalkers alive for some amount of time if you have Blink and you're good with the micro there. So a big group of Corruptors though here. I guess this fire was more for Corruptors. I should have thought about that. Mutalisks again are good, but against that many Colossus you really need the Corruptors. We are burrowing some static defense up here in the creep. Spore Crawlers. They will be useful against taking down any detection and anything like that. So Blink Stalker's moving on up along with the Warp Prism, blinking right on up into the main here. A few Zerglings respond, and Mutalisks trying to snipe down this Warp Prism real fast. Yes, they managed to get it. And these Stalkers are stuck. I don't know if there's anywhere for them to go, but they're making the most of it, sniping down an Infestor, sniping down Mutalisks, killing Zerglings as best they can, immediately sniping down this Queen, trying to take down Workers, Mutalisks. The Corruptors responding, can't do much at all against this Blink Stalker attack. A small group of Zealots moving on up here to this base. Oh no, getting melted immediately by these Locusts, just doing so much damage to those guys that were not on attack move. The Blink Stalkers are still alive. The Zerglings are trying to clean them up as best they can, but man, these Blink Stalkers are just really annoying with that +3 upgrade, and finally they get taken down. But it is 68 to 71 Harvesters. The Zerg player did lose a few workers in that attack. The 4th base is fully established for Rain, so I don't know why there are drones down here for Soulkey. That's interesting. This poor Stalker was just hanging out at the Zelnaga Watchtower, sending back information to home, and instead he is destroyed just for doing his mission. So poor guy did his best for his people. Are they people or are they Protoss? I don't know, I'm going to call them people. Forward pylon being sniped down by those Locusts. Special Tactics Warp Prism coming on up to the 4th base here. Might try to snipe it off with some Dark Templar, recognizing there is not any detection here at all. What do we see? No, instead it's going to move on up and go here. Pretty sneaky place by this grass that kind of hides things, but it's right on top of the creep, which means the Zerg player can see it. So let's see what the response is. We go into warp mode and we warp in some Zealots. No Dark Templar at all this game. I think those might be pretty good. But they warp on in and they're going to immediately snipe down this hatchery. I think there is enough of them to take it down. No, what are they back? Oh, because the Locust showed up just in time. All of the Zealots die instantly. Transfuse goes down on this hatchery. Soulkey knows he needs to keep this alive. He needs to be on 4 base before... Or he's going to lose the game. Another group of +3 Zealots moving on in. +3, +1. But again, free units versus expensive units. Not super fun for the Protoss player. They are enough to take down the Locust, but the Zerglings respond in kind, and it's a good spot to be in for Rain. On that ramp, there's no surround possible for these Zerglings. And a bunch of Zerglings will die, but I think eventually this will get cleaned up as well. Another huge group of Zealots morphing in here at the 2nd base. Able to snipe down the hatchery, does take it down. There is Vespene gas remaining. There are minerals remaining. That's a big pickup from the Protoss player. Just doing a great job with the Zealot harass. We do have Templar in this Warp Prism moving on out. We might see a Storm Drop. So probably a Storm Drop at the same time. This attack is coming up the right side from Rain. Going to distract at the front, Storm Drop at the back. If you can kill these probes, kill, a bunch of these drones as well. A lot of drones here, 18 drones here for the Zerg player. Scouting ahead are these Zealots, and they get cleaned up. by these Zerglings. Locust +2, +1 now. I wonder if it's just not cost efficient to get +3 because he's had enough time to get it. I wonder if Zerg players just aren't really interested in doing that. Huge storms going down, 8 workers being killed. Maybe not that many. The Warp Prism, benefiting from its speed boost, is faster than the Corruptors and can get away. So 8 workers going down at a 68 to 54 harvesters right now for the Zerg player. He is bleeding. He is bleeding bad. It's like a boxing match where one guy can't quite get a knockout on his opponent, but he just does little quick hits here and there, gets a couple cuts above the eye of his opponent, and eventually the opponent can't see. He can't do much of it all. It wears him down, and you just kind of win without a knockout, but with a technical decision. So it might be what Rain is trying to do. Ferrying some more Templar up here. Going to try to do another storm drop, maybe at this newly reestablished natural. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen here. Swarm hosts sending their locusts out left and right, trying to find this army and kill something, anything. Because again, he is economically definitely behind at this point. His income is substantially lower than the Protoss player. Again, only has 51 harvesters at the 25-minute mark in the game. Not a healthy place to be in at all. He has enough money. He's floating about 1,000 minerals and 2,000 gas. I am not sure what he's waiting for. I guess he's maxed out. I guess he wants to be able to do an attack with these Mutalisks and then max out again. A lot of photon cannons here, but they're at the front. A good defensive storm from the High Templar. Not enough to finish it off, though. Are we just going to see Mutalisks after Mutalisk here? We do see some Tempests, which aren't great against Mutas. A blink up forward does catch a lot of these Mutalisks and kill a bunch of them as they fly away. But at this point, with the giant Mutaflock, I believe Rain might be on the back foot. He doesn't want to go attack because Mutalisks can kill all of his workers very quickly. Locust moving on out here again, taking out another poor Stalker. No, Stalker survives with 13 hit points. Alright, Rain says, I've had enough of this. It's time to move on up. We're going to attack. I don't want to deal with this Mutaflock. They're very annoying. So fighting right on in here to these Locusts, melting everything down. These +3 Colossus are just so strong. Killing, what are these called? Creep tumors. A couple spines here to do some damage as well. A huge group of Locusts come up, but they're a little bit clumped together. Storms and Colossus. So fungal growth going down on everything. These infestors taking everything down to the red, to the orange, to the yellow health. We do have a Mothership Core, though, cloaking everything down. Is there anything to spot this? Yes, there's a forward Spore Crawler, which is pretty much Soulkey's saving grace at this point. Everybody flying on in. Storm going down on the Mutalisk. They're going to focus down the Mothership first, rather, and they're going to try to take down these Colossus. There's a lot of air units snapping everything down. Colossus being destroyed, and the Zerg army does retreat. There is a Warp Prism popping up here, around 12 more units being killed by that Warp Prism and the Templar inside, but it does get taken out. So gold base being established for Rain. He has 5 bases now. To the Zergs, I mean, basically 3? He's pretty much mined out there. He's pretty much mined out there. He's mined out at home. I mean, the income level is, yeah, it is 1,500 to 700 for the Protoss player. He needs to make a push. He needs to do some destroying now. He needs to take down a base, really take down an army. Zealots coming up, taking down this gold base. Again, Rain knows exactly what's going on. It's able to take down that base before it can even get mining started. A small group of Blinkstalkers coming on up, doing what damage it can, but Mutalisks are faster than Blinkstalkers, and as they try to run away, they get picked off one by one by one, and they are dead. The Mutalisks do have +3 attack upgrades, which is really good with that bounce. Zealots moving on in, trying to do some damage as well. Again, it doesn't look like Rain's interested in doing a knockout punch. He just wants to kind of bleed Soulkey to death. So the Locusts are coming into this base here, doing pretty well. A huge group of Mutalisks did a good job dodging that storm, but man, if they'd gotten in there, they could have taken down this whole group fairly easily. The Tempest, again, just shoot so slowly and don't do any extra damage against the Mutalisks. They're not a great choice, but we are burrowing Swarm Hosts right here at this base. I believe this 4th base of Rain is going to go down, but it's just been so beneficial to Rain for such a long time. I don't know if it matters too much in the grand scheme of things. We'll see what happens, though. Locust coming on down, killing workers, trying to focus down this photon cannon before they all die. Or are they able to kill it? 2, 3, bam! They do manage to kill it. And more storm dodging here from the Mutalisks. Grouping up this air army is pretty intimidating, especially with these swarm hosts on the ground. We do have +2, +1 upgrades still. I don't think Soulkey is ever planning on upgrading there. I'll have to upgrade and research and see what's going on. Templar getting sniped out by these Locusts is a big pickup. Storms are just so good, but everybody is on top of these Protoss units doing a lot of damage. All the Phoenix are going down. The Colossus gets sniped off as well, and the army is right at the front door. Although we have Zealots coming in, killing so many workers for Soulkey. How many workers does he have left? 28 workers are left is all. I think Soulkey needs to win with this final push, or is he is in a lot of trouble. We are going to go ahead and take down this third base now. A lot of workers are here, but again, this gold pace is just worth its weight in gold for Rain. He's able to get a lot of income. He still has gas mining there. These Zealots are still causing so many problems. Taking down Spore Crawlers, killing what they can. What is the response going to be from our Zerg player? I don't know, but 18 probes being killed now. Small group of Stalkers and an Archon moving up. Looks like a bit of a base race. I mean, Soulkey knows he needs to keep these air units alive. He doesn't have a whole lot of money in the bank anymore. A lot of gas, but not very many minerals, which is, again, just really good for making units. Even as a Zerg player that relies a lot on gas. Workers going down here. It's just such a close game. Zealots focusing down this fourth base. Are they able to get it before they die? Yes, they are able to take it down. This group is just so strong. The Archon having 21 kills with his +3 attack and plus damage to biological units. Mutalisks trying to kill what they can. Roachwarren being sniped down here. We have the Locusts here at the gold base killing everything that they're able to do. But this small group of Blink Stalkers and Zealots is right inside the main of Soulkey, taking down the Hive, taking down Evolution Chambers, destroying everything they can. How many units are left for our Zerg player? 18 Mutalisks, 17 Swarm Hosts. Is it basically just a base trade at this point? Where are all of those mutas? Units, Mutalisks. Oh, here they are. They're flying back to defend. So I was just a little bit early on them. They did show up. They are going to be able to take out these Blink Stalkers fairly easily. And what is left in the army for the Protoss player? 11 Zealots, a Void Ray, and a Warp Prism. So I think this might be it. So many probes going down. 46, 48 kills, 49, 50 kills going down. Only 3 Harvesters to 12 Harvesters left now in this game. Just incredible action here. Who's going to pull it out? Who has the upper hand? I really think just by the army value, nothing's in production. I really think Soulkey has the advantage, but he basically lost his main. He has no buildings left. He is defensively putting up these swarm hosts. Are there enough minerals in the bank to rebuild for either of these players? Yes, Rain can rebuild. He has 1,000 minerals in the bank. He can build a base somewhere and start mining again with his 11 Harvesters. Another unit going down. With this late in the game, every single unit is important, especially for Rain, who is actually at a disadvantage at this point. Where are those Mutalisks? Do we still have them? We do. They're flying around just with this death ball, checking out the main base. Coming in here to start destroying buildings of Rain, trying to win the game that way by taking down everything that he can, throwing down changelings to do a scout in and see what he can see. I mean, Rain really focused on offense, though. Warps in a bunch more Zealots. He doesn't actually want to take another base. He used all of those minerals, most of those minerals, to warp in these Zealots and try to take down buildings as fast as he could. He does not have enough minerals left to build another Nexus. So that Void Ray is pretty important. Swarm Hosts are here. Warp Prism, if it gets sniped, it does. Mutalisks chase it down, kill it, kill the Void Ray, and Rain calls the GG. So, incredible back and forth, close action there between the Zerg and the Protoss players. In the final tally, we had 2 Zealots and a Phoenix and a Probe for Rain. We had a group of 16 Mutalisks and 22 Corruptors and 17 Swarm Hosts for Soulkey, but the number of buildings he had left, I think I could count on one hand. So just amazing, amazing game 3 there. Soulkey really scratching and clawing to win that, and in the end he did, bringing the series to a 2-2 tie. We will move on to game, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, game 5 next. So this has been Falcon Paladin. If you liked what you saw here today, hit that like button, hit subscribe to catch more daily StarCraft 2 professional casts. And you can also find me on Twitter, Facebook, and also on Twitch at /FalconPaladin. And until next time, you take care of yourself.